doing yet another post-mortem of the 2023 general election. Of course, the elections attracted international attention, and the outcome is also getting global scrutiny, as now the spokesperson of the Presidential Campaign Council of the All Progressives Congress, that's Festus Keyamo, a senior advocate of Nigeria, has reiterated that the elections were credible. Mr. Keyamo, the Minister of Sports, Sonidari, and others who addressed the press at Washington, D.C., the United States, said the fact that APC leaders, including the President-elect and governors lost their home states to the opposition is enough justification for the credibility of the elections. Asukwo, of course, understandably, the APC is still sticking to its position that the elections were credible. This back and forth now, what do you make of it? This is not the first time. I keep telling myself this is not the first time we'll have elections. And, people have said, despite these hitches here and there, the Nigerian elections are emerging, that they are evolving. But what do you make of, the issues that have arisen since the conduct of the elections?
No, I think for the APC team, going to America to go and justify all these things is because they just want to, because there's so many stories flying around, and for them to have gone to America and they are traveling, I think it even started with Lai Mohammed, going to America to, to make sure that the narrative is not twisted in any way, makes a lot of sense, because the thing is, the way supporters of some other political parties are taking this election is like, if it's not us, then the country has to burn. But no, we need to tone down our voices a bit so that we can hear ourselves. And the only way we can hear ourselves is we have places that we can hear ourselves, and which is the courts. Elections have been done, conducted, the winner has emerged. INEC has declared the winner. INEC is the only body by law, that is given the right by law to conduct elections. And it's only INEC that can decide who the winner is. So the next place that anybody, if you're aggrieved, the next place you can go to, if you feel that INEC didn't do one or two things right, is for you to go to court. And so they have gone to court. But there are so many people who are still trying to feel that they are aggrieved. And the way they've been sounding and sending messages outside the shores of Nigeria is not palatable in that. And that is why the likes of Keyamo, the likes of Lai Mohammed has also gone out, to try and tell the international community that, this election was done. And thankfully, from the statements from Keyamo and his team, what they said was that they gave reasons why this election was credible. And we participated, when I mean participated, because we are stakeholders, the media is a stakeholder in this whole thing. From what we saw, we have been able to also gauge our own. And then we saw, okay, fine. Based on the past elections, and this particular election, you have also gauged it and to say that this election wasn't really that bad as many people are, claiming. Because, Kemi, we have been in this Nigeria whereby you can sit in your house and before you know it, they would have announced results in your polling unit in this same country. But it didn't happen in this election. We had the game changer, which I call the game changer, the Beavers. Was a game changer. It started, yes, when they brought it out, it started with its own glitches. But in this election, the observers, both international and local observers, rated Beavers very high. Meaning that we are getting there. I'm not sure there's any country in the world that will have 100%, when I mean 100%, credible, or no, 100% election. When you say, oh, we want to rate election.
100% free and fair.
Free and fair. No, there is no place. Even America, our America, Trump still believes he's supposed to have been declared the winner. There were some counties, there were some places that they had to recount in America. So if we look at it, and then, not that Trump just say, okay, fine, everywhere has to, you can see what happened, what has been happening. They've been having, they had the June 6th committee looking into what happened after the election. So, but we don't want to get to that point. And that is why the likes of Keyamo, they are all out there trying to tell the international community that this election has been done and a winner has emerged. To me, that is the best thing. We need peace in Nigeria. And that is what they are saying. Now, because the rhetorics outside is different from what we are. In fact, the way we are going about, the opposition is going about the whole thing, is they are not trying to help the country to remain united. And the simple thing they can do is just to tell their supporters, guys, we are in court. So we need people to tone down their rhetorics, their negative rhetorics, so that the court will decide. Because if you look at it, anytime one of them remains silent, the next thing is there's nobody that they have not even attacked in Nigeria. If you go online, they have attacked the judiciary, they have attacked INEC, they have attacked police, they have attacked even the people that we respect, Kemi, that even when we are young, we look up to. Our mentors, either in the industry or even in our field, they attack them for no just cause, just because of this election. So we need to see how we can make sure that this is, I don't want to really go to, I will go down, I want Adekule to, respond later. But the thing is, we need to tone down, and that is why the likes of Keyamo, Ajuri, and then Sunday Diary are out there to tell the world that this election was conducted in a very credible manner. And let's take it that way. The
parties, at least the three main parties, have gone to court within the 21-day window that INEC, declared for, parties to file in their appeals. Yet the dust has not settled. Their supporters and even key personalities within the parties have also, still going out, talking within and outside the shores of Nigeria, talking about how the polls went. Some saying it was a sham, the polls were a sham, and of course the APC saying this time around in America that the polls were indeed credible, looking at the emergence of losers and winners.
Well, anywhere in the world, and we've tried to find out, there has never been anywhere that there was a perfect election. It has never happened. Any arrangement involving human beings, it's impossible to have perfection. So, and that is why when you read one of the most unforgettable legal luminaries in terms of election petitions around the world, that's the late Richard Akinjide. He pointed it out that there is this, what they call doctrine of substantial compliance. And what that presupposes is that you can never have perfect election anywhere in the world. So it's not peculiar to Nigeria. America that preaches, a rule of law, democracy, doesn't do perfect elections. And name the country that does. There's none. So here, the opposition, is hell-bent on discrediting this election. February 25th, was the election perfect? I will come out and say, no, it wasn't perfect. But there was substantial compliance with the provisions of the law, and the result reflected the wishes of the people. If not, you will see, protests all over the place. You would have seen protests all over Nigeria. Was there any protest anywhere in Nigeria? So, look at the result. Try, as an unbiased person, try and disagree. Just study the results. Buhari, the sitting president, the man who signed the law, upon which the election was conducted.
Yes.
He lost,
in his own state.
Buhari came out and even did what is not even proper.
Exactly.
He voted and brought out, you know, all through the elections, he was describing Ashwaju as the Khalifa. Khalifa means the successor, my successor. He voted and brought out this is the way to go. And I counted about 5 other aides of the president, like the Attorney General and some of them, who did the same thing in their respective states. But in Katsina, the president lost his state. His Khalifa didn't win. His own candidate didn't win Katsina. That's Atiku won, not Bola Tinubu, in Katsina state. Bola Tinubu, you know, from Lagos state, didn't win Lagos. Governors in Nigeria, they are in charge of their parties, of their states. They are more or less like, I don't want to use certain words to describe them. At least 20 of them lost, mostly ruling party, their states, during presidential election. We have about 8, if I don't know whether I'm right again, among them sitting governors who want to go to the Senate after retiring, you know, from office as governor. They want to go and be enjoying themselves in the Senate. How many of them? They lost their senatorial bid. And for those who don't understand it, going to the Senate is just a third of the votes that made you governor. After 8 years, you now needed 1/3 of the votes of your state. And you failed. What does that say? It says that thing, beavers, the people, you know, made the people's vote to count. You can go on and go on and go on and go on. And if you look at all some of the things that the result, you know, brought out, you will know that the APC won that election. There was a piece written by one, you know, brilliant professor. If you are familiar with Ilorin 49, that group that fought, you know, Ilorin management to stand. You know, it was a national crisis that lasted for several years. The demand that led that group, Dr. Lorun Oju, wrote a piece about this election. And he went into the links. You know, at a point, they wanted to hang on to the section of the Constitution that says an Abuja. Now, he now went into the linguistics that, laws are written, you know, in the languages, whether English, Yoruba, Hausa, at least, you know, interpreted that by this law, going by the language, and these are what? And. That I've actually won either way. Whether you use and to me, Abuja is included, or that the man won in 29 states.
In 29 states.
That he met the constitutional requirement to be president of Nigeria in 29 states. Whether you look at it from the argument that is being canvassed by the opposition or by that and or, you know. So, 29 states. Article 1. I mean, in terms of what the Constitution says,
which is the
that is what the Constitution expects. He got it in 21 states. You get my point? But the law says you must have so percent in 24 states of the Federation. Now, what of Peter Obi? So, what I would just say is, people should calm down. Nobody has ever expected, even our law, didn't expect INEC to be a perfect organization. INEC does not have the final say in our elections. INEC will say whatever it has to say. If you agree, if you are not happy with whatever INEC has done, the law has provided for you to approach the courts up to the Supreme Court. So if you lose at social stage, go ahead, exhaust the provisions of the law up to the Supreme Court. it is whatever is decided at that level that is final. So INEC can declare A, and at the Supreme Court, B may emerge. It has happened several times in our country, and Evans didn't fall. So why now that we insist that, have our courts, pronounced on these issues? We're now appearing to be watching our dirty linens, all over, the world. If you see the global media, what people are writing there about our election, about Nigeria, 25th February election is not going to be the end of Nigeria. If you lose today, that's tomorrow.
And I was even getting to that, because the fact that we are now taking this issue is now being, is it celebrated? Is that the word now? Celebrated outside the country. Wouldn't it have implications for us as a people, regardless of where you fall in, whether I'm, of this party or you are for another party? Wouldn't it have implications on us as a country, on our perception out there?
No, it's definitely going to, because, and that is why we are telling people to calm down. Because if you calm down, people are just putting things on social media. We are all not going to. There are so many people who would like to do businesses outside Nigeria, one way or the other. We don't know particularly how this government the new government will come with good policies that will make people want to even venture into export and things like that. And it will require you to, seek, visa to go to those countries. Now, if you have posted things that are unpalatable, one way or the other, do you think that country any country outside wants to even do business with you? So people have to think. It's not about, because if it's not my person, then everywhere will scatter. No. So we are having, I think from what Keyamo and co. they are doing is to make sure that what people are painting outside is not actually true. Yes, we might not have the 100% that everybody is talking about. But the thing is, the process, the election was at least credible enough. And we are growing. There is no perfect democracy anywhere in the world. There is no perfect. There are even some people who are even trying to run away from democracy and saying they want to bring their own brand of, type of government, But the thing is, let us just calm down and see how I keep telling people, since Buhari has even come, he's signing into law the Electoral Act has changed a lot of things. There are times that we used to have soldiers who participated actively in elections in Nigeria. But since this man came, you don't see soldiers being very, very active in elections. And people should also stop cherry-picking, if when it's APC, people will say they have rigged the election. But when there is another party that wins the election, they will now start hailing. No. But it is the same Buhari that conducted the same election. And it's the same this electoral act that we are using. And just like Adekunle said, the thing is, the Supreme Court has overturned so many elections. Have you forgotten Bayelsa? When the man was preparing for him to be governor, they removed him.
See,
even him, so we have so many like that.
You see, the whole world needs to know, because when you talk about the Labour Party and the opposition, biggest the PDP, they lost the election many months before before February.
Because 25th. The G5 was there. It was even glaring for everybody to know.
You need to contextualize issues, because many people didn't know. With Peter Obi's, votes combining with what
Kwankwaso.
Forget Kwankwaso. With Atiku got, Ebola Tinubu would have been in the court today.
Yes.
Probably.
Exactly.
You understand me? Because Atiku would have won.
By at least 13 million.
About 13 million. Abubakar and Peter Obi, the two of them lost the election many months before February 25th. Remember, it was the same Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi that, flew the ticket of the PDP in 2019. You remember?
Against Buhari.
Against Buhari. you saw what happened in that election, and you saw how INEC was running from pillar to post. There was server, there was no server. And at the end of the day, the court pronounced, and that was it. You know, Buhari stayed. Now, in 2023, the two teams, formidable team anyway.
Yeah.
You got my point?
All apart.
So a few months before the election, after the primaries of I think before the primaries of the PDP, that should be around June last year, if I remember very well. What happened? Peter Obi branched out of the PDP.
Maybe around May.
And looked for an obscure party. Who knew Labour Party before, 2022? You get me?
The last Labour we knew was during Mimiko's time.
And he became governor in Ondo.
He brought out his supporters, and most of the supporters of the Labour Party happened to come from the southeast. Don't forget, in Nigeria, religion, ethnicity, they are defining factors. It may not be good, it is sad, but they are defining factors in our elections, in our politics. So now, Atiku Abubakar, not even stopping there, there were the aggrieved G5. You may not like their politics. I don't like it too. But the fact is that they were influential enough to do inner damage to the PDP. And that damage, followed Atiku to end. April 25th. And when you look at the results, you need to contextualize this. Atiku Abubakar lost the election long before February 25th.
Right.
And the Labour Party, who is now the representative of the Nigerian youth, who is now being made to look like the newest thing in our politics. It's not new. It's one of the old cards anyway. So you know what happened. But they all lost the election before.
All right, gentlemen, now the attention has shifted to the courts. And, even lawyers, notable lawyers, have also spoken about how well the courts have fared. Why, according to them, should the courts determine who emerges the victor of elections? Why doesn't the battle end at the polling stations? Why the courts? And now that courts are going to determine the outcome of the petitions of these aggrieved parties, where do you see this all headed, especially when you look at the outcry, when you look at the grievances people are also, spewing out there outside the courts?
Well, I can't determine for the judiciary.
Absolutely.
You understand, but...
in terms of the confidence that people have on the judiciary,
the thing is, people...
Why can't we just allow the court, like you both have said, calm down? Let
me tell you, people should have faith in the judiciary. Why? Because they are the last hope of the common man, just like we say. That is it. So we must always respect the judiciary. Vilifying the judiciary, denigrating the judiciary does not make it look as if they don't know what they are doing. There's so many things about the judiciary, But the thing is, whether we abuse them, we cause them, the people who will be sitting at the panel, whether in the tribunal and then they move to Supreme Court, they will be looking at the law for them to decide. So Nigerians should, I have confidence in the judiciary. Right. Because you know why? Kemi, we have seen several election cases that have been overturned in Nigeria, for crying out loud.
All right. We've run out of time. Adekunle, please carry on.
When we have grievances, it is because the law does not envisage us to resort to self-help.
Yes, exactly.
And that is why the courts are there for you to approach. If you're angry with anything, if you are not satisfied, approach the court. And why is our politics different? In business, in personal relationships, in everything. When you are aggrieved, you go to the court. Those who are not happy that the court, eventually choose the winner, should just perish that thought. Go to the court if you're angry. Atiku Abubakar is not happy about what INEC has gone to the court. Let the matter be determined there. Same thing for Peter Obi and same thing for every other person. You get my point? At the end of the day, whatever is decided there is final. So those who are now complaining that why should the court be the ones to determine, even in America, who does? You go to the court if you are not satisfied. Lately, you remember in the US, they had to go to Florida to ask the court to determine what happens there. And the moment that is resolved, the winner, you know, is pronounced. So we should not begrudge the court for choosing the winner or affirming the winner or whatever that happens there. Since the law has given them that, you know, prerogative, right. And the court does not just jump into the space. It is the people who approach the court.
Of course.
They are great parties. And that's what democracy is all about. All
right, gentlemen, this is a fine point to rest our conversations for this Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. Asuquo James and Adekunle Yusuf, thank you both